Hi everybody, it's Wednesday of our prayer week, day 3. It's going quickly, but it's been a real blessing so far. Can I let you into a little secret that these videos are not prepared in a great amount of time before the week happens, hence why I can refer to Tuesday because I'm recording this on Tuesday afternoon. But it's all good. It's good to be up to date. That's how I like to think about it anyway. Today is Wednesday, day 3 of our prayer week, and as I said, we're having a great week. But please do be in touch with us. If there's anything you want us to pray for, if there's anything that God has been speaking to you about, prompting you about, if you want to join in with what's going on, please do be in contact with us. Don't forget, Thursday at 7 p.m. there is in-person prayers here on Thursday evening and online at 8 o'clock on Friday evening. The links will be sent out and the times will be sent out via the email with this weekly video, and again later on in the week. It's been good to share around the Psalms this week together. Sue and Sarah have led us so far looking at different Psalms, allowing them to speak to us and guide our prayers. And again, Psalm 46 is going to be no different. God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear, though the earth give way and the mountains fall into the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam and the mountains quake with their surging. There is a river whose streams make glad the city of God, a holy place where the Most High dwells. God is within her, she will not fall. God will help her at the break of day. Nations are up in uproar, kingdoms fall. He lifts his voice and the earth melts. The Lord Almighty is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. Come and see what the Lord has done, the desolations he has brought on the earth. He makes war cease to the ends of the earth. He breaks the bow and shatters the spear. He burns the shield with fire. He says, "Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord Almighty is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress." The psalm that I've just read may be very familiar to us, or maybe verse 10 in particular is very familiar to us, and we'll come back to that in a few moments. Wednesday is often described by many people as the hump day of the week. Once we get over that, it's the weekend. Now, I don't want to rush that today and this week, especially as we have the privilege of being able to pray together. But maybe over these last couple of years, without wanting to minimise it, it feels like we're a bit in a moment of a hump in the life of the pandemic. Maybe we feel like we're just getting over it. Maybe we're at different points of that, but maybe that's where you are. Maybe as we go into 2022, we can be a bit more confident that the things we've planned are going to happen. Certainly in our house, we've got things that I was given for my 40th birthday back in 2019 and Christmas of that year that we still haven't used, which we are plotting to this year. It's been hard, hasn't it? It's been stressful and testing, to say the least, for all of us in various ways. And I found this first verse as I read this week really helpful and brought a peace to my heart. God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. As I look back over these past 2 years, and let's be also honest, maybe even beyond that, I see that this verse is true. That even though if I didn't always feel like it in that moment, I can look now with some certainty that God has been my refuge and my strength, and ever present in our times of trouble. The reality, though, of this pandemic is still with us. Yesterday, in our prayers, we we thought about kind of coming to the end of the pandemic, whatever that means, and there won't be a final point or day we can kind of acknowledge as. But as we continue to lift the lid on the impact of it, we know that COVID has had an impact well beyond these 2 years and well into the future. Some have suffered physically with long COVID and still struggling with their breathing. But I also think that there are many that are still dealing with the after effects of lockdowns. There are many still dealing with the impact of maybe not being able to grieve properly. Many being able to still deal with the kind of change or being on furlough or whatever it may be. It isn't over, and we must be mindful of this for one another. Some, yes, will go confidently into this year, hoping and praying and planning as if we can just get on with it. But for others, there is a need, there is a hurt that still needs to be resolved. And as much as we can read this verse retrospectively from this moment today, that God is our refuge and strength because we know where He's been with us. He's been with us in our times of trouble. We must also read this verse as truth for us today and in the days to come. I'd encourage you to read this for yourself, maybe even out loud where you are this morning. God is our refuge and strength, and ever-present help in our trouble. As we go through these first 9 verses of this scripture, and again, encourage you to go back and read through them, the way I would describe it is there's a lot of noise. Not kind of clanging cymbal types of noise, but there's a lot of description there that talks about what the world is wrestling with and the way that God is involved in the life of the nation of Israel. And you can kind of reflect that for our world too. There's been a lot going on, a lot of stuff that we've been trying to contend with, a lot of noise in our lives. And maybe trying to hear the voice of God has felt really hard. Maybe it's been almost impossible with all that's been going on. And not because we're busy, but because of this uncertainty around the pandemic and that has caused. Maybe the weariness we feel from just having to keep on changing what's going on, and maybe the isolation. And there are other things, I'm sure, that have created noise in your life. So often, our response to this noise, these trials or hardship, is to try harder, to keep going, to do more, to fill our time and think, we'll just get through this. But the psalmist has a much more wise suggestion. Actually, it's God's suggestion to the psalmist. Be still and know that I am God. Stop what you're doing, rest a while, and discover who I am, says God. Humanity are not very good at this, about stopping and resting, and certainly not always good at discovering who God is. I think it's important for us as we come through this prayer week, as we come to pray together, that we stop in the light of these verses and seek to rediscover who God is. That doesn't necessarily mean we've forgotten who He is, but maybe we haven't forgotten the entirety of who He is. And maybe actually as a human we can't really fully know that, but that shouldn't stop us from seeking it. We need to pause, take stock of what has happened, see where God has been in those moments over these past years, but we should also stop and see who God is for us today. now as we prepare for what is to come. I encourage you then to read this psalm in confidence of God's presence with you. As this last verse says, be strong and take heart, all you who hope in the Lord.